Oh, am I doing it? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, but most especially good evening. It is a good night in Edessa. Not such a great night for Memnon. He's pretty hungry. Things are getting lean. Food is getting sparse. The city is kind of a rotten place to be a vampire right now. Can't go out after dark. Memnon has been working very hard to not let this ruin his social life, and has sent his ghoul out into the world to find some craftspeople to work on a personal project of his. He is assisting his friend Torvald with the renovations occurring at Torvald's pet whorehouse, the Roost. And Memnon's ghoul has been using the daylight hours to find men who seem trustworthy or who have a good reputation at their craft. I'm assuming to go and work there and spread the good news of Memnon finding them work.
Yes. Memnon wants to look for a small but reliable and adept group of men, perhaps 2 to 4 people. Going down the list of repairs that Zaedia had requested or pointed out. I believe a carpenter and a mason would help round out
Hmm.
a few things. It's on the schedule.
So he's found you a reputable carpenter and a reputable mason. But you also have asked him to find some less reputable people. Um, Someone to come in and have dinner with you after dark, which is a time that people are not generally willing to come out right now. And
Mhm.
sure enough, on the appointed night, um, as dinner is being served, um, I'm assuming Memnon is in a back room as night has fallen. He
Yes,
hasn't
he
fed
has.
yet.
Yeah, he has his like own room within his haven.
Hmm. So as you awake from your slumber, as the sun sets, um, you wake and hear voices, unusual, unfamiliar voices, coming from the other room. Do you have a nightly ritual?
Like as in rituals or just something Memnon does.
Just something you do. What do you do when you wake up?
Um, hmm. You are the first. You're the first person asking that. I haven't thought about that. I guess Memnon just tries the best he can, knowing that he has to put on some kind of appearance to groom himself, but lacking his uh, possession of of a reflection. Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah, he just at least tries to make sure that whatever previous nightly activities he was in not
Uh-huh.
still caked on him.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yes. But yes, dressing himself. I guess, would if Memnon tried to just eavesdrop on what's going on, could he make out like what stage these people having arrived are at? Are they actually sitting down eating or
Sure. Let's put us in dice roller 3. What'd you name this scene?
uh, feasts and fortunes?
Excellent. And then I misspelled it. Who does that?
That's all right.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your perception alertness.
Sure. Now I have to load Discord. Sorry about that.
No worries. I feel that pain.
2 success.
Yep. So you, what are you listening for? Kind of ear to the door?
Trying to see if, like, what the conversation is, if I can discern any clues from what they're kind of doing at the moment. Does it
Okay.
sound like they're eating and drinking, or?
No, and you would guess that they're probably waiting. Well, what command would you have given as far as eating and drinking goes? Is Memnon going to come out and fake it through dinner with them, or did he give orders for them to be fed and entertained before he woke up?
Oh, he would have been very casual about it. He wasn't going to like make anyone say grace with him at the table.
That would definitely be awkward in a Muslim area for him.
Yeah.
I mean, but when you were talking to your ghouls, when you were asking them to set up this dinner, did you give them any particular instructions in
Oh
how you
well.
wanted the time to go?
Oh yes. Ply him with some drinks, soften them up a little bit. Um, Definitely not to be let into Memnon's
Sure.
room whatsoever.
And do you usually eat with the family? I'm assuming not.
I don't normally. I don't envision that he would normally like eat with them, but he may just conversate with them as they eat.
Okay. Okay. You generally join them for dinner, but don't partake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're all now like kind of in the know of Memnon's actual nature.
Okay. Okay. Um. So okay. So yeah, you hear them. They haven't started dinner yet. Then, you hear the sounds of flagons of wine being picked up, maybe. Wait. But you don't hear like utensils on plates. And the conversation sounds pretty. It kind of has that guarded, uncomfortable small talk kind of sound. Um, the laughter maybe seems a little forced. Um, these are people who have gathered and are waiting. There's kind of an expectant tone. Um, and there are long pauses, like people are periodically kind of forgetting what they're doing to listen. As you're well aware, they're probably waiting for you.
Um, I never quite wondered what Memnon keeps in his actual room. His clothes and all that. Um, okay, well, Memnon would slowly go out. He'll try to put on a demeanor that he is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And I guess when he goes to the area of the haven that he hears the sounds coming from,
Mm-hmm.
try to grab their attention just by clearing his throat like a
Mm-hmm.
just read the reaction of the room.
You see heads turn. Your ghouls are, your ghoul. You have two now. One's not all the way ghouled, right? But one is completely ghouled.
Yes.
Your ghouls, their eyes brighten perceptibly. Their heads turn towards you with varying expressions of adoration.
Oh, I'm sorry. Question: Are you placing urine there? Right?
I'm sorry?
Urine is my other ghoul. I have Gadwing and urine that are full ghouls.
Okay. And then I see, I'm sorry. And then there's the wife who's not a full ghoul. Which of them would you have asked to be there?
Well, they all kind of live with me.
Oh, okay. Now I'm assuming they're just all there. Yeah. Yeah, so three people turn and look at you with adoration. The other two people are seated at the table. They turn as quickly as the first two. They don't have adoration in their eyes, and they're kind of glancing at the ghouls for kind of cues and how to respond, and they notice rather quickly that all these people are watching you with almost unhealthy respect. And so one of them had his cap on and he just kind of takes it off quickly. And everyone looks at you attentively.
Memnon would say, "Good evening. You must be the honored guests that my man Gadawain had axed over." And Memnon will try to approach them and offer a handshake.
Mm-hmm. You'll get a handshake from each of them. One of them's older, one of them's younger. You said you asked for a blacksmith and a what? A mason?
A carpenter and a mason.
I'm sorry, a carpenter and a mason. Yeah, the carpenter. Well, you can't really tell. One of them's older, one of them's younger. The both of them have strong grips. And look curious. The younger one kind of gets to his feet a little bit. This man has a fish hanging around his neck. Wonder if it's supposed to be a fish or just some kind of a tie that looks like a fish. I'm upset about it.
I think it's a scarf.
Let's say it's a scarf and not a fish. So you get 2 healthy handshakes, and some curious searching. The older man says, "Must be some job if we're out this late at night for you."
Oh, yes, indeed. It is a delicate matter to broach. At the same time, I was unavailable this morning, and I know that with curfew in effect, or to arrange things in a timely manner, well, we don't have all the time of the day anymore.
Well, it's the night that's a pain in the arse. The day's fine.
And then we'll just smile at that and nod.
He kind of nods to himself like, yeah, I'm right. And then sits back. The younger man says, "Well, I was told I could spend the night, so I don't have to go back out with the watch hunting."
Oh, of course. I am thankful that you've made this journey. I would be callous to turn you away if, even if my offer was one that you turned down. It is just the hospitable thing to do, especially amongst fellow craftsmen.
Can I please get a charisma leadership role?
Sure.
Well, that's quite good. Yeah, you got 4 successes. Your demeanor's paying off. You're doing well so far. They don't seem to think it's weird that you've called them here. You are very convincing in your "I am the soul of hospitality" in this awkward way. Sophia is, and her husband, which one's her husband?
Gadawain.
Sophia and Gadawain are kind of hovering, preparing to serve food, but they're waiting for a sign from you.
He'll kind of look around at everyone and just ask, "Have you lads eaten yet?" Asking to the guests.
They both shake their heads, and there's a general shaking of heads and noises of, "Oh, no, it's no trouble. We haven't eaten yet. It's no trouble. We're just going to starve to death here."
Memnon will say to.
Sorry, it's getting late. I'm getting feisty.
Memnon will say to Sophia, lady, would you be so kind and set the table for our guests here?
Oh, she sets the table. Her husband helps. They both know where the dishes are. Um, and he in particular is eager to see your wishes carried out quickly. So the table gets set in record time. Um, I'm assuming you make small talk. Ask
Um.
who they are, what the
Oh
fuck they're
yeah.
doing here.
Yes. All general questions of your names, where you're from, uh, some kind of way to evaluate their skill,
Mm-hmm.
like what's like some anecdotal story of like, oh, what have you worked on before? Blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. Um, they each kind of start to tell you their story. The older man turns out to be the mason, and he tells you that he's fallen on hard times. Um, he lost his two children to the plague, and is struggling to make ends meet now that in his old age he's a skilled craftsman, but he was expecting to be spending his days dawdling grandchildren um, instead of going back to work. But he has said grandchildren to feed now,
Oh,
and
that's heartbreaking. Like, just take my blood, be my glue, I'll keep you forever.
aw, I'll keep you forever. Aw, um, but he's still in good shape, and he tells you that he's been a mason for many years, and is not he doesn't mind taking jobs that are unusual as long as they pay well, and he can if he needs to take time off to take care of the kids. It'll be some time before they're out of the house. The other man, the younger man, is a little bit shifty, a little bit. You don't get quite the same good vibe from him as Mister Plague Sob Story. Um,
Oh, really?
mhm. He grins and tells you he's new in town and has yet to make a name for himself.
Um, did he state where he came from?
He gives you the name of a fairly large town nearby, which I don't have handy because I'm, super prepared for this scene.
It's okay. It's okay. May I roll a peony to see if he's lying?
Sure, yeah,
Would my cute sense of sight come into play since I'm reading him, or
sure.
awesome?
Oh no. Well, you get one
One
success.
success.
Well, you don't get the feeling that he's lying. He's from out of town. Um, you did send Gadawain out to kind of. Was it Gadawain? I think so, to kind of get a read on people, and he seems eager to lean over and tell you that this man hasn't made a name for himself, but his work seems to be of superb quality. But you still get that kind of shifty sense from him. Even with Gadawain vouching for the quality of his work, you still kind of feel a little shifty about this dude.
Not to grill him, but okay. Memnon will ask him. He'll ask him how does he plan to go about making his name.
he tells you that he's an honest worker and intends to prove himself with the quality of his work, and you can peony that one too. Let's give him some dice for this. Oh, look at that. Man, that was 2 stellar rolls, but yours is 1 success more stellar.
Wow, did ours come out like simultaneously?
Yeah, it's been kind of weird tonight. So, you start to feel pretty reassured, and then, you kind of think about it again, and you really feel like there's something off about the way he's saying it. There's something off about... He just keeps striking you as shifty. His eyes just kind of keep sliding away.
Okay. Well, don't want to draw too much attention to him. Make things awkward. So, Memnon's going to turn the conversation around to what the job might entail.
Hang on a second, I got something in my eye. I'll be right back.
Oh,
Sorry.
I hope you're okay.
I'm fine. I'm just gonna go feel sorry for myself for about 2 seconds.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. I just hope your eye's okay. Memnon will kind of describe what the work that's entailed. He's going to hold back that they're working in a brothel at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So he'll go through the work schedule, and he'll try to read both men and see if they seem to like either like nod like, oh yeah, okay, or if it seems daunting to them, like where their reactions just
Okay. Go ahead and do you want to... You have blood dots and blacksmithing. Would you like to make a charisma leadership roll, or would you like to make more of a perception crafts roll? Are you trying to kind of talk them into it, or are you trying to, as a craftsman yourself, suss them out for quality?
That.
Okay. Perception crafts, please. You don't get a very good sense for it. You go along and you explain the work, and they're nodding enthusiastically. Both of them are nodding enthusiastically. Neither one of them seems like they're just gonna be like, fuck it, and run off. But that's that's about it. You have 1 success, so you feel like both of them are agreeing to it. You don't have a real strong sense either way of whether this is beyond them.
Okay. Memnon will go over the part where he'll say, and if we help the owner get back on their feet, business will boom and there'll be further work for us down the road when they can afford it. I can assure you that there's already money waiting for your wages. All that has to be done is the work completed.
The older man says, "Well, I'm here to work." Your man, and he nods towards Gadawain, said you're good for it. I prefer coin up front, but I'm sure we can work something out. Craftsman to craftsman.
Oh, of course, of course, of course. I will make sure that you're sent home with something to get you through the day, and when work arrives, that you can get yourself through work. If you like, I can pay you as you tick off. That's not really the word I want to use out of character, but as they go down the list.
Okay.
Things, you know what I'm saying?
He nods and seems content. The other man leans forward and says, "Well, you mentioned making a name for ourselves. Is there going to be fame in it?"
Can I try to read how eager he is when he says that? Like, he's
Sure.
kind of like a. I'm amazed that that's at the forefront of his mind.
That's a pretty good roll. Okay. It doesn't seem fishy to you. It seems more probing. He's trying to figure out what you're on about. You feel like he's someone who doesn't trust. He doesn't seem quite like he trusts you. Maybe he's projecting. But you get the sense that the question is probing. He's trying to find, as opposed to being someone who's super interested in the fame, he's really just trying to figure out what you're interested in.
Memnon is going to say, well, that all depends on how you define fame. It could perhaps be infamous if you care what others think. But who knows? Perhaps you just might impress our patron, that your name will be sung in their halls for years to come. And Memnon smiles.
Infamous? What do you mean infamous?
Yes, I suppose we have arrived to the meat of the matter. Let's see. Memnon will say, but first, some wine.
Okay.
I am prolonging this.
I'm not ready for meat yet.
No, not yet.
Okay. Your ghouls serve the wine, and dinner has been served, and an uncomfortable silence falls unless you work to assuage it as everyone eats and drinks and kind of
Please
glances nervously at each other.
Please tell me my ghouls had the good sense not to set a plate for me.
Would you have left any instructions with them?
I would have definitely. I mean, I would say it by now. Like, they know I don't eat.
Okay.
What's the point of wasting the food then? Like, come on.
Sure. Yeah, if you normally don't take a plate of anything, they won't leave you a plate. They'll just give you a glass of wine and maybe leave the bread basket close to you in case you decide you want to snack or pretend to snack and just rip it into shreds while people are watching. It's a little awkward that you're not eating. Nobody comments on it, but you do notice that the older man, at least, has glanced a couple times at the fact that you're not eating.
Memnon would say, well, our patron is not someone of noble standing. So, if you have any reservations or judgments to make, it is fair of you to do so. But if you do climb aboard our enterprise here, I would ask you to have the decency to keep your judgments to yourself.
I've never worked for a noble before.
The old man said that.
Mm-hmm. This would be the first time. I don't mind working for an honest. He says honest and then kind of pauses and and then like eyeballs you and says wage. Not he's not quite sure what the hell you're on about.
Okay.
But he's gonna try and be diplomatic about it.
Right. Memnon will just nod in approval. Exactly. Our patron needs work done. I can assure you, there is no blood on this money. At least as far as Memnon knows.
You want to roll for that? There's everything a vampire does has blood all over it.
Wait, it's not his coins he's using.
You're like, and I didn't bleed on it.
Yeah, I gave that money away last time. All
I
right.
think you better roll manip sub, sir. I don't feel like Memnon of anybody can say there's no blood on this money and be real sure. There, see, there's no blood on this money. They believe you. That's a lot of successes. No blood at all. No blood on this money. Probably. I probably wiped it off first.
Okay.
The younger man finally like sets his fork down. He says, "What's the rub?"
Memnon will ask Sophia if she would kindly leave the room.
She does, of course.
Memnon will lean into, well, who's closest to sitting to him, the old man or the young man?
Probably the old man has the position of what you know what I mean. Has been afforded the seat of honor.
Fair enough. Memnon would like lean into the two of them and say, "Our patron is a owner, proprietor, a brothel." And, upon saying that, he just wants to read them real quick with P&E.
You got one success. Nobody you didn't botch. Good job not botching. The old man is kind of squinting. Hard to say. The young man looks vastly amused. He says, "That won't stop me. I'll build a bed for whoever wants it."
Memnon gives him a smile in approval. Yes. That is
The older man says, "I suppose I'd be grateful if you'd keep my name out of it."
Memnon will nod with his eyes closed. If that is your wish, sir, and I respect your reservations.
I don't mind doing the work, but maybe don't put my name on it much.
Fair enough.
And can I please get a charisma or manipulation leadership roll?
Will be this.
Okay. What were you about to say?
No, Memnon just said fair enough.
Okay. Well, when do we start? Says the younger man and thumps his fist on the table.
I would, out of character, I would suppose they could start right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
And they can go out during the daytime, so
Mhm.
right away for reals.
Memnon would say he'll say the two of you along with Gadwain will go there ahead of me. Gadwain will be your point man. There is some things in the forge that I'm sorry. There are some things that must be built from scratch. I'll handle that end. But perhaps before nightfall, you'll see me there. I'll come by. If you wish to spend the night at work and not have to travel back home, I can see to having some place made for you to sleep.
The old man shakes his head. Oh, I'll spend my nights at home. We've got the little ones to look after.
Memnon will nod fairly at that. Yes, yes, old man can't go missing. We don't need people putting out wanted posters and missing persons flyers.
The young man looks vastly amused at the idea that you're going to get him a room to stay in at the brothel. And he's like, I'll take you up on that. Don't want to be out after curfew.
Can I try to read him there?
Sure.
Is this dude catching a boner, man?
I mean, this seems like a great idea to him. I will 100% sleep in a brothel.
Blooded.
Hmm?
That's quality, maybe. So yeah. Other than that, I think that Memnon will just try to get through this evening with not having to answer too many other questions.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. No, go on.
What?
No, I said I'm sorry. Go on. You speaking.
What were you going to say? Go ahead.
Just Memnon will kind of go through some do's and don'ts, meaning dominate.
Okay.
Like how to conduct yourself while you're there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
While working, you don't accost the women. You be respectful, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Behave yourself, essentially. After work, you're on your own.
Okay. Sounds good. You have never seen anyone actually read the rules and regulations the way these two people do with Dominate going on. Let's see. You just made me a very jealous woman. I wish I was Lysombra. Okay, one success. That's not a lot of successes.
What's your willpower rating?
Oh, you're right. You're right. It's gonna be 3 or 4, so you have at least 2 successes. What's 2 successes get you? 1 second. Oh my goodness gracious. It's only 9:30 here. I don't have any excuse. Sorry, I'm awful. Also, I can't spell. Makes it hard to find things. Are you using Dominate 1?
No, level 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
Okay,
level 1's a one-worded command, right?
What?
Like level 1's just the one-worded command, right?
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, they take your meeting. Go ahead and roll for the other one too. You got a echo going on.
Oh, oh yeah, I just made one roll for one person. Sorry.
No, no worries.
I got on my bad.
Okay, 2 and 3 successes. Yeah, both of them seem like they will listen to your instructions. Um, you you feel pretty solid about it based on their expressions that they've heard you, and it doesn't seem far off the old man's natural inclination anyway. He seems a little hesitant about it, about the whole thing, but um, doesn't seem opposed. The young man kind of grins when you first start, but you can kind of watch the dominate take hold as he nods and stops looking quite so smug and happy with himself and starts looking like you can probably trust the fox in the hen house.
Fair enough. I guess at that point, Memnon would invite Sophia back in the room.
Okay.
I don't want to,
Okay.
I want to forget about her. And yeah, I guess Memnon would just try to um, hmm, unless you're gonna throw something at me, Memnon's gonna try to get more of a read off of the younger guy.
Roll
Um,
initiative. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, that's fair. You could do that.
um, I guess just the way Memnon's gonna go about it
Hmm.
is perhaps like probe him with questions, maybe like in a I don't want to say like necessarily an interrogation, but
Okay.
you know what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. Um. So you send the older man eventually excuses himself and heads to bed.
Hmm.
Um. He wants to be up early as soon as the sky clears so he can go back to the kids. The younger man stays up drinking with you, presumably,
Hmm.
and you begin to chat about some things and interrogate him. Do you want to roll? What are you looking for?
Um, I want to know like what his reason for wanting to make a name for himself is.
Okay. Um, Perception empathy, I think, is probably good. You can roll wits empathy if you like, since you are grilling him.
Got him drunk.
Yeah, that's a pretty good roll. So you start to kind of steer the conversation, trying to suss out where his interests lie, and he starts to tell you that he's come to the city in the wake of the plague because he likes the risk. He likes the. He kind of confesses that he likes the danger of it. Um,
Would it be fair to say that I glean he might be like a thrill seeker by nature?
yeah, yeah, that's exactly. And you get the sense that he probably hasn't. Gadawain has assured you that his work is the highest quality, but you get the sense as you're talking to this man that his nature hasn't necessarily served him well as a carpenter.
Mm.
That he's probably down on his luck and made some unhelpful choices.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I think when Memnon has gotten that much out of them, now how young would you say that he is? Would Memnon kind of be able to get a range of his age?
Sure, yeah. I mean, he's probably in his mid-20s, early mid-20s.
Okay.
Definitely old enough to have a family in this day and age, but he does not have a family.
Oh. Okay. Okay. I got one last important question.
Okay.
Memnon would ask him who taught him his craft.
Okay. He will say that he learned from his uncle. And perception empathy, please. You get when he says that, there's a flare of maybe guilt, a flare of anger. You get that kind of family feud kind of sense. And he tells you that his uncle is a traditionalist, very set in his ways.
And what is your untraditional ways, Memnon? Assuming.
I like to try new things. I think the man that does the best work should earn the best pay.
Impressed Memnon is. Memnon will say, yes, a man must be able to propel himself further, lest all of us be left behind. And I would suppose your uncle had felt some other way about it.
Just because he taught me doesn't mean he knows best. Just because he's older doesn't mean he ought to take the lion's share of the pay. We quarreled.
Well, I think it is not uncommon, nor unwise. Yes. You must test your own limitations and exceed them. How else can you become master of your craft?
Alhamdulillah. He agrees with you.
So, yeah, Memnon would, I guess, try to just make small talk with him until he wants to go to bed. But if it starts to look like it's almost daylight out, yeah, Memnon will probably like signal to Gadwin, like, get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no worries. He doesn't. I mean, you're plying him with wine this whole time. Yeah, he doesn't. It doesn't take long before he's starting to look kind of sleepy. And so, if you send him to bed, he thanks you for the opportunity, and unusual as it may be, and promises you he'll do a good job.
Enthusiasm. I like to see that from people I'm tricking. Okay.
What?
Nothing.
What'd you say? Your mic cut out.
I know. No, I said I'd like to see that from people I'm tricking.
You're like, Dominate 2 says, yeah, you will, bitch. Okay, is there anything else you wanted to do?
If you don't mind, like, is there any private business my ghouls might want to bring up? I would at least address it.
They will make the Gadawain who you sent out to find the men will make sure that you are satisfied and ask if you want them to keep looking around. Is Gadwin a blacksmith too?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Memnon would tell him if he sees really good talent and someone that is willing, then yes, we'll set something up. You know, but he'll just say, for now, we'll just see how it goes. But unless someone remarkable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. They don't bring anything up. Sophia tells you that work is going well at the Red Calf. That the people that you'd been talking to before the curfew fell have been going to work there, and it doesn't seem like there's been any scuffles or badness. Not yet.
Okay. I would ask Sophia to keep an ear for just the everyday things, the gossip amongst tradesmen, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything from Yoren?
Nope. Yoren reports that he's doing a good job.
Oh, at least this one. Can I just ask him which of the merchant's daughter does he fancy?
Oh. Yes, absolutely. You guys have a little matchmaking conversation, and yeah, if that's what's going on, he promises to consider them. Do you basically inform them that you want to see him married to one of them?
Yeah, yeah, I would have. I mean, I kind of would think that as a young man, Yoren would want to get married, unless you need to tell me something about him. Then
No, sure, okay. And definitely with your persuasion and the way he feels for you, he says he doesn't want to marry anybody but you. But if you wish it, he'll marry this nice young lady.
Okay. Yes, I guess Memnon will try to talk big, and you know what? I there's just no way I can like really justify it. And then Memnon goes into these delusions of grandeur of what he's gonna do with Yoren's life and how magnificent it's gonna be. We're gonna get you a wife. We're gonna upgrade your house, things like that.
Okay.
Just because Memnon's got something else scheming in the back of his head.
Okay. So before you go to bed, you spend some time talking Yoren into your vision of life for him.
Yes.
Which involves marriage and doing other things that he's told to do.
Essentially. I mean, hey, he's
but
gonna
famously and wealthily and
yeah, exactly. Make him look good.
I get you. Sounds good.
He'll be the best well-dressed blood slave.
He's delighted by this vision of his future. As long as you keep telling him that it's what you want, it will make you happy. What makes you happy makes him happy.
Ah, ghouls. But yeah, okay, I guess with that, Memnon would head to bed.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been Death of the Dark Crusade, Memnon's Shenanigans.